How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew, and today, guys, welcome to Ctrl over C, the Speedcast. I'm your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and I am introducing today your master of all things in this world, including that of death, life, and procreation. We have Salsa Shark.
Never forget, I am also the master of audio wizardry and how to absolutely destroy an audio setup.
And then somehow miraculously fix it.
I giveth and I taketh, yet I know not how.
Yeeteth and yoteth. But, anywho, welcome, guys, to the Speedcast. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about a couple different things. But first, it is story time with Ike. Now, guys, I'm a pretty chill guy. I don't get mad that easy. You know, there are a few things in this world that I truthfully get angry about, but today you're going to learn about one of them. So I recently, Salsa knows this because Salsa's also going through this process. Our group likes to go on cruises. Salsa loves the cruises, and the rest also.
I'm sorry, was that a question?
Yeah, you like going on cruises, right?
I mean, I don't think I really need to justify that with an answer. It's cheap, affordable, and they just give you lots of food. And for an extra, $150, you can drink as much as you want.
Exactly. So suffice it to say, this also likes the cruise. He can eat, he can drink, and he doesn't have to do anything for a whole week.
Bro, waking up at 9 a.m. and hitting the tequila is like a dream, because there's only 2 times in your life you wake up at 9 a.m. and start drinking. You're either at your highest or your lowest, and on the cruise, it's relatively high.
Relatively. Oh man, a nice screwdriver sounds good right now. Let me tell you what. Orange juice and tequila, or orange juice and vodka, because I think tequila sunrise is orange juice and tequila.
I would assume so, hence the tequila sunrise.
Right.
What I could go for is pineapple juice and Malibu.
That's true. So you used to drink the shit out of that. I remember when you lived closer, anytime I would come visit you, you were drinking that shit.
As it was always that or whiskey sour.
Yeah, whiskey sours are pretty fire too. I don't know, just when you go on a cruise, they're somehow better than when you make them at home.
I think it's just that they use actual good quality shit, whereas I'm out here buying shit at the local Dollar General.
If you're buying whiskey at Dollar General, you probably need to get help.
Bruh, Dollar General steak though.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's good. I've never had it, and I don't intend to, but it's an option.
I'm always curious because Dollar Tree, the Dollar Tree, has ribeye cutlets or something like that. So sometimes I want to buy it just to kind of see what the fuck it's about.
I mean, it's your colon. Go for it.
Fair. But anyways, so something that we were going through is that we're going to go on a cruise hopefully this year, and we're going to be getting passports. So also, have you started the process to get a passport?
Nah, bro. I don't have the money for it yet. Government has not sent me my stimmy.
You haven't got your stimmy yet?
Nah. In fact, live on air, I am going to go to the irs.gov and check on the status of my stimmy. Get my payments. Yes. Okay, I understand this is a government system. Shut the fuck up. Ah, fuck. 3-1. I probably shouldn't say my social out loud.
Probably not.
There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, it was supposed to have been deposited on March 17th to an account I don't have anymore. Okay. Fucking, we need to stop doing that shit. Point is, I called the bank. I said, hey, listen, the IRS, just like last time, is trying to deposit into an account that is not open. I know you can look in your system and see I used to be my account. And you can even see activity to an account that doesn't exist. So all I need you to do is when they go to deposit it, reroute it to my new account. Seems simple enough. And the first time they said, oh yeah, we can do that. They didn't do it. Didn't
Really?
get the money, so they had to send a check. And then the second time they just outright say, no, go fuck yourself. We can't do that. What do you think we are? Wizards? Warlock?
You think that I can commit some form of magic to help you? No, go fuck yourself, mate.
Like, man, I really don't want to be the guy to walk into that bank with a gun and be like, hey, where's my stimbo, Jimbo? Where's the stimmy, Jimmy?
So just so we're clear, that was completely a joke. This also will not at any point in time commit any form of domestic terrorism.
Okay, robbing a bank is not domestic terrorism, first off. I would know.
Fair. Anyways, before Salsa has a coronary, Salsa still hasn't gotten his STEMI, but I have gotten my STEMI, and so me and my wife, we went today to start the process to get our passports. And to get your passport, you have to print off a form that you fill out online, and then it basically prints it out already pre-filled out for you, which is great. And then you take that form, you take your license, and then you have to take your birth certificate to get a passport. Now, I just out of curiosity, obviously they have to prove that you're a U.S. citizen. But if I provide you my social security number, like, wouldn't you think that would be sufficient enough to prove them a citizen? Because you have to have a social to be a citizen, right?
Yes, you bring up a very valid point. If you have a social, clearly you are a citizen. You cannot just fake having one or not have one if you are a citizen.
Exactly. So when you apply for it, you have to provide your social security number. You have to provide a copy of your ID, and you have to provide your birth certificate. Well, and you don't just have to provide your birth certificate. You have to provide an original copy. So either one that you have, or you have to purchase a new one from the records department of Indiana,
From the government.
From the government. And then in addition to that, you also have to provide them a copy of that. So you have to take a photocopy and bring it in. Now they said they'll do a photocopy there, but here's my dilemma. I don't have my birth certificate. I must have lost it at some juncture, or I misplaced it somewhere when I was moving at one point. But the point is that I don't have an original copy, but I do have a photocopy. So I take it in, and I'm like, here's my photocopy and everything else. And this lady's like, you have to have an original copy. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because they have to confirm that it's a real birth certificate. I said, how would I have been able to forge this? I said, I have a social security number. Here's my literal ID. I said, what do you think that I'm trying to accomplish? Anyways, but the point is that you have to have an original copy and a photocopy in order to get your passport. And in addition to that, or go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just want to point out that you walk into a government agency who have access to all the records in your state. You show them a legitimate ID that you got through the government that they can look up in the system. You provide them with a social security number that they can look up in the system. And then you hand them a photocopy of your birth certificate and they say, ooh, this is too suspicious. You might be an illegal. Like, motherfucker, how did I fake the first two things? But the one thing I trip up on is the fucking piece of paper that says I was born here. I could go to a fucking hospital and pay a motherfucker $5 to just forge one, but that's the one thing I didn't do. You dumb bitch.
And I will say, to be fair, that around here you either have to go to like a government building, or you can go to a post office, because the post office will do your passport photo as well, which is great. So it's possible that they really can't find my information, but even then, they have to send the forms. They send it, to the government for you. Okay? And they take your picture and they give it with the forms. You're telling me the government can't put 2 and 2 together? Like, I have to pay the government $100 for a passport. And they can't do a little bit of due diligence? Not even a little bit of fucking due diligence? That's 100 smackaroos. And these fuckers can't even just determine that I'm a legal resident of the United States.
You're spitting facts, but
Exactly. Well, no, this story gets worse, okay? The story gets much worse. So, I can't get my passport, which is fine. I'll just get a new birth certificate. I'll go back later. But I go to look online on how to get a birth certificate, and you can order one by mail. You can order one electronically, or you can go into like your State Department or one. One second. Lost my train of thought. Anyways, so point being is that you can go into this some department within like your county or whatever, and they can get a copy for you. But regardless of where you go, you have to pay money for the birth certificate. It's like $15 or $20, right? Which I think that's bullshit too. I don't think that I should have to pay the government money to get a copy of my fucking birth certificate. Same thing with like a social security number. If I can prove my identity, like I shouldn't have to provide you that shit. You should just fucking print it off and hand it to me. It's like if I'm getting fucking extorted from the government to prove to the fucking other branch of the government that I work in the United States. It's like, oh my god.
Listen, don't even get me started on all that bullshit, because I could go on for the rest of this podcast about all the things I find grotesque about this dumbass system we've built.
Bro, don't get me started on it either, because I feel a very certain way about speeding tickets and car registrations, because it follows a similar plot line. Like, I pay for my car, I pay taxes on the car, I pay registration every year on my car, and in some areas you have to pay tax for each tire that you own. Did you know that? Some places in Indiana charge an additional tax yearly for each of the tires that you own on your vehicle. And if you lose a tire and you have to replace it, you have to pay tax on that tire as well. Did you know that?
Well, down here, you have to pay to have your car inspected before they will allow you to get a license plate.
Shit, really?
Yeah, you literally have to meet a certain criteria, which changes based on location. Like in Charlotte, if your car gives off too much gas emission, they will just say no and you can't drive your car.
How am I supposed to get the fucker home? Like,
You walk. You walk like the little bitch ass baby you are.
but
like,
anyways, go ahead.
Listen, I'm all for we need to get rid of this dumbass shit where I'm paying the government, because I already paid my insurance for the car itself, and I am a safe driver. Why should I have to pay tax regularly? Because I'm all for registering it. One and done. I register this car once, cool. Maybe even pay $10. That's it. But the fact that they're like, oh no, you have to come back how many times? I think it's like once every few years. Or is it once a year?
To register your car? No, yeah, registering your car is a yearly thing. I actually just registered my because I bought a new car. Well, that's another thing that pisses me off. If you buy a new car like halfway through the year, and like you're in the middle of a registration period, you have to pay a prorated fee to re-register your new car, in addition to what you've already paid for your other car, and then you have to register at the same time the following year for your new car, which I just did. But yes, it's a yearly thing.
So basically, like I said, I'm all for getting rid of that shit. You should only have to either register it once for a fee or yearly for free. Because
I agree.
I'm already paying taxes on the car. I'm already paying taxes on everything I buy. I pay taxes on the money I make. I pay taxes on the money I leave behind when I die. I pay taxes for the money I give for other people. I pay my fucking taxes. You know who doesn't? Amazon. Cool. They get away with it, but I don't pay my taxes. I go to prison and get fucked in the ass. By the government and by my cellmate. Point is, I'm all for getting rid of this dumb shit because I already pay my taxes. I should not have to pay to get a fucking ID. I should not have to pay to register my car yearly, especially when they mandate it yearly. I should not have to pay to get a fucking passport. I should not have to pay to get a copy of my birth certificate. Literally, all they do is they're like, oh, give me your fucking identity. Here you are in the system. Print. Fucking, what's the button? Control P? Wow, that's a lot of fucking work. They get paid more to hit Control P a couple dozen times a day than I get paid doing jack all, building fucking engines for trucks. My point is, I agree with all that. I do have to point out I don't agree with your how you mentioned in the same vein speeding tickets because speeding is immoral, unethical.
We're not gonna get into that. Well, maybe we can talk about that next podcast. But back to my original story because it gets worse. So when you request your birth certificate, the easiest way to request it is just to get it online. And it says in the instructions that you have to provide them like a copy of your license to prove your identity, which makes sense, right? I have to give them a copy of my license so that they know that I'm who I am saying that I am. And so that way they're not just sending some random fucker in the middle of nowhere my birth certificate. So that's fine. Guess how they want me to submit this paperwork?
Via mail.
No, they want me to fax it. That's the only option.
Well, I hope your local fucking library is open.
Or if I have to go to UPS or fucking Office Max or
Bro, I
fuck.
would sooner eat my own balls in public than I would go to a UPS store and unironically say, "Hey, can y'all fax something for me?"
And it's true because like it costs money to fax it because I don't have a fucking fax machine. It's not 1987. Nobody faxes anything anymore. I would rather send it in the mail. I would rather buy fucking stamps and envelopes and send the fucker in the mail than have to literally find a way to fax it. It's ridiculous. There's no fucking reason. There's absolutely no reason. It is 2021. The government can literally use Moabs and bomb Afghani farmers in the middle of bumfuck Egypt from the safety of some tent in the middle of the Arizona desert. And they can do that with literally no effort. But I have to fax a fucking form and a copy of my driver's license so that way I can then get a copy of my birth certificate. What the fuck?
Listen, man. Every other day we're like, "Oh, look at this new wonderful invention." Like the mRNA vaccine for COVID. They're
Yeah.
already saying that we could eventually, within a few years even, use that technology to make some kind of vaccine for cancer.
Yep. And MS.
And we literally turn around and then we're like, we could do that. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we should give a little money to these government agencies who are literally operating on a shoestring budget and still rely on fax machines and fucking what do you call those things where instead of storing data on hard drives, they store them on like weird film reels?
Like floppy disks or yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You joke, but they use the thing that came before floppy disks in some agencies still.
That is absurd.
A floppy disk would be a generational leap forward for these people.
Jesus fucking Christ. And and here's the thing that kind of pisses me off too, because along your similar line of thinking, we how much money do we put into our military every year? I mean, it's
Well,
like
I can tell you how much we've spent on the Middle Eastern conflict since 2001. I believe the number is something like $3.1 trillion. I don't know. That still sounds too low. Let me Google this. How
so the
much money we have we spent? God, I write like a child on
so
war
the
in Middle East.
So while you're doing that, the U.S. built military budget for 2020 was $721.5 billion. Billion. $721 billion. So that's thousand, million, billion. Oh, wait. I'm doing a little bit of calculation over here, and I gotta work my calculator. So that's 1,000 million times 0.1. If we take 1%, that is $72 billion that we could then turn around and put into other things. And that could efficiently fund, for instance, like universal health care if we were to start taking money out of a military budget. And we talked about this before, but we live in the United States. The United States has an military-industrial complex that our military is so powerful, but we're in peace times. I mean, relative peacetime. You know what I mean? Like, we're not actively fighting a war anywhere.
Like, the thing is, as long as other countries exist, we will always need to have a military at the ready. But I do think we could trim away excess. Because obviously, I don't think we need to defund the military. Because, hey, it's nice that we have a military who can protect us from, I don't know, an invasion from China or some dumb shit. Because who knows? Maybe the Call of Duty games were right. One day Russia will attack Alaska. Who knows?
But and don't get me wrong, I'm the same way. I don't want to defund the military. I'm just saying we could literally take 1% of the military budget, and we could reallocate that money to much better causes, and they would still have over $600 billion, over $650 billion to fund a military, the largest military in the world, mind you.
Well, the problem there is there are problems in the military that need addressed that we are not currently funding. We spend all that money on military spending, yet there are still problems like the VA. The VA is an abomination. These veterans are not getting the care they need and are literally being turned away because if they don't report their injury at the time it occurs, it's off the books. It never... Like, literally, you can't even get a fucking CAT scan for a traumatic brain injury unless you report it the minute it fucking happens.
And don't even start on that shit because, fun fact, me and Logan, we have a mutual person that we know. He's an older gentleman named Dale who fought in Vietnam. And we both care about Dale. Dale's a super nice guy, and he fought for our country. And he got fucked real bad with Agent Orange. Like, he's got some really bad health issues when it comes to that. And, I mean, he has horror stories about the VA. And this guy has reported injuries with the war he acted in. So think about people who didn't report those injuries or didn't know about those injuries until later, And that's kind of what Salsa's talking about.
It's hell for the people who do report their injuries. And they're literally like the most covered people under the VA.
Right.
If the most covered people are still going through hell and high water to get care, it's impossible to imagine just how bad it must be for someone who doesn't report it, for someone who doesn't even know they have an injury. Because like a traumatic brain injury, it's a very common injury in the military. It doesn't always show symptoms right away.
Right.
And most people don't get symptoms until like months later. All right, so we should probably move on from shitting on the military. We could go on for days, but
you're about to get a drone strike through your window. Actually, given our time constraints, we actually need to wrap this episode up, and I guess we'll kind of recap in a future episode. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the whole passport process is shitty. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm okay with paying for a passport because I'm basically paying for the opportunity to travel internationally. And
I'll comment on the passports in the next episode. Don't worry.
Right. Honestly, we can recover this in the next episode, but just so that way
we'll recap it. I'll say some stuff, and then eventually we'll actually talk about video games for once in the fucking last 6 episodes.
Hey, we're called the Speedcast. We don't got to talk about video games, fuckers. But
talk about weed, heroin, crack cocaine.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, motherfuckers. Here's what we're going to do. Everybody, go out there and follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Follow Salsa on Twitter and follow me on Twitter as well. All of that is in the comments, or not the comments, but the description and at the end of the video. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay awesome. Salsa, close us out.
It's been a wonderful time talking about, the government and their terrible spending. And we'll get back to it next time because, God, I have a lot of shit I can drop on the military and the government. See you next time.